Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and this is the April Showers book tag. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, a book tag for you today, the April Showers tag. I was tagged in this tag by the Mild Rumpus. Thank you very much for that tag. And this the creator of this tag was Sabrina over at Beyond the Book Reviews. Yeah, you're getting a tag today because I know it's not Tag Tuesday, but I've not been very well for the past week and a bit. I'm kind of fighting this weird virusy thing that my wife and I are both battling against, and I've been feeling very up and down, on and off, rubbishy. And so I've done like no prep for any of my scheduled videos. So you're getting a book tag instead because this one's a nice, quick, easy one to do. My brain isn't really functioning that well at the moment. So the stuff that I had scheduled will come next week, like the Angela Carter reviews and things like that. But yes, on with the book tag then. Let me pull up the questions. I'm very disorganized today. Okay, here we go. So prompt number 1 then. Share a book with water on its cover. I have plundered my bookshelves and I found this one, The Wager by David Grann. He's the author of Killers of the Flower Moon. And this is a tale of shipwreck, mutiny and murder. And I haven't read this yet. This is a true story and non-fiction. And I will save this for quarter 3 of Historathon. But this one is basically, a vessel kind of washes up in 1742 on the coast of Brazil with 30 emaciated men on board. They are survivors of the Wager, a British vessel, which was wrecked whilst on a secret mission to raid a Spanish treasure-filled galleon, and they have an extraordinary tale to tell. But then 6 months later, an even more decrepit boat comes ashore on the coast of Chile with 3 castaways on it, and a very different account of what happened on the Wager emerges. And this is kind of, accusations of treachery, murder, and kind of trying to figure out who is telling the truth about what happened with this vessel. It sounds fascinating. I've heard excellent reports of it. I'm really looking forward to reading it. So yes, that is my pick for prompt 1, The Wager. Prompt number 2 then is, what is a classic novel you'd like to curl up on the couch with? I'm not a big reader of classics, but there's one that immediately came to mind, and that is Journey to the Centre of the Earth by Jules Verne. An absolutely fantastic, exciting, funny, interesting science fiction adventure novel. I listened to it on audiobook quite a while ago now, and yeah, it's brilliant, and I'm going to be reading some more Jules Verne probably later this year or next year. Prompt number 3, share a scary book you would read during a rainstorm. Rainstorms, like when it's battering down, then I think I'd be drawn to like classics or ghost stories, really classic ghost stories. So for this I've picked anything basically by M.R. James, who is I think my favourite kind of author of more classic ghost stories. M.R. James was writing at the beginning of the 20th century. And yeah, they're great. And I'd say that as well because they come in collections and they're quite short, and you can read as many as you want in one sitting. I often sit down to read one and end up reading 10. But they're brilliant. They're just really atmospheric, and they're the sort of thing that you kind of want to be reading whilst you can hear the rain lashing against the windows. Ghost stories I think work well when it's raining for some reason. That or haunted house stories. Okay, prompt number 4. What's a good book recommendation for rainy days? If you want something that you can get through in a day, I would go with something by Becky Chambers, one of the two from Becky Chambers that I've read. This is the second one in the Monk and Robot series, A Prayer for the Crowned Shy. But I'd say, obviously, if you haven't read the first, read the first, which is A Psalm for the Wild Built. These are, you can read these in one sitting. They are wonderful, warm hugs of books that are just, yeah, if you just want to like curl up and just feel some warmth through the writing, then I'd go with one of these. They're absolutely brilliant. Okay, next prompt. What two characters would you like to spend a rainy day with? That's quite an easy one for me. That is two characters from this book, Lanny, and it would be Lanny and Pete. Mad Pete, the artist that becomes a friend of Lanny, the little boy in this in this book, because we'd just sit around in Pete's kitchen with tea and the fire on and Radio 3 and just make some art and just be comfortably quiet together, being creative. That to me is the idea of perfection. So yes, Pete and Lanny from Lanny. Next prompt is share a book that has blue on the cover artwork. This one is Various Shades of Blue. That's Ray Bradbury, The Illustrated Man. I haven't read this yet. I read The Martian Chronicles in March, which was a mixed bag in terms of its stories. But a couple that I really liked, a couple that have, like, one particularly that I think has become one of my favourite short stories from anyone, anywhere, anytime. And so I do definitely want to read some more of Ray Bradbury's short stories. I also like the fact that, you know, with both this and The Martian Chronicles, it's not just a book of random short stories. They are connected through a theme or a sort of a central point. And I really like that idea of this kind of, you know, how they're tied together. So yeah, The Illustrated Man, I will get to this probably later this year. Okay, next prompt. What book has a rainy setting at some point? For this, I'm picking Cold Granite by Stuart McBride, which is the first in the Logan McRae series, which is crime novels set in Aberdeen. And there was quite a lot of reference to the horrendous weather that you get in Aberdeen. It's very, very cold, very wet, very windy, snowy in the winter, very grey, and it really fits the sort of the theme and the feel of the book. These are dark crime thrillers with some pretty gory, nasty stuff in them, and the characters are all quite dour. And the rain and the amount of rain particularly really does help to sort of create a really good atmosphere of the city of Aberdeen and the sort of kind of setting that these are, these kind of dark crime sort of scenes. So yeah, Cold Granite by Stuart McBride. Next prompt is, what book would you not mind using as an umbrella? This is going to be predictable to anyone who knows me, but that would be Great Expectations. It's thick, at least, so it'd take a while for the rain to get through. But yeah, that's the only reason why I could see myself carrying a copy of Great Expectations. I will say no more on that. Okay, next prompt is, which character would you like to share an umbrella with? This is a difficult one for me because, do you know what? I flipping hate umbrellas. I can't stand them. They're annoying. They're really, really annoying. Never use one. No, I don't own one. Never use one. Don't want to use one. But if I was to share an umbrella, it would probably be with somebody like Corellin, a character like Corellin from Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke. Corellin is large, should we say. I think that if Corellin had an umbrella, it'd be massive, so there'd be plenty of space for me underneath it. but also just because of his size, I think I would probably get a fair amount of shelter from the rain without the umbrella. I won't go into too many details on that in case you haven't read it, and to describe him in detail would be a spoiler. But yeah, and also he'd be quite considerate about making sure that you were comfortable and you know that you weren't getting too wet. I think he's a very considerate character, Corellon. So yes. Okay, next prompt is share a novel with a dry beginning but an amazing ending. I honestly have no idea for this one, because if the beginning was that dry, I won't have made it to the ending. I have a very small tolerance for dry beginnings in books. If it's too dry for me, I put it down very quickly, probably within 30 to 50 pages. If it's that dry before that, there's too many other things that I want to put my time into. If I'm into a slog with a dry beginning, you know, I'm not going to give it much chance, unfortunately. You've got to hook me, not bore me in the first few pages. And that's the end of the prompts, so the only thing left to do then is to tag a couple of folks. I will tag, let me think. I will tag Crystal over at Fiber Artsy for this one. And I will also tag Michael Romeo Talks Books. So no pressure at all, but if either of you feel like having a crack at this one, then please do. So that was the April Showers book tag. Thanks again to the Mile Rumpers for tagging me in this one. Nice, fun, quick little tag. Thank you very much for watching today, folks. Do drop your thoughts, etc. in the comments below. Do let me know what your picks for these prompts would be. I'll be back at some point when I'm feeling a bit better and I've had a chance to like prep and film, etc. some other videos. So I hope you'll join me for whatever they may be, whenever they may come out. But for now, I'm going to go and get back underneath my blanket and stick on an audiobook and probably have a nice cup of fruit tea or something. But yes, I will see you very soon, no doubt. So from me, for now, that's ta-ra.